The Lost World, Chapter Nomenware. What are these great adventures? How beautiful she was. Her lash of eyes, her long hair, her sweet smile. Gladys Hungerter was made for love. We were friends, good friends, but not anymore. We sat silently by the window in her father's house, and Gladys seemed so beautiful, but so far away. Tonight, I decided. Tonight, I will ask her. Suddenly, she turned to me and said, I have a feeling you're going to ask me to marry you. Ned, please, don't. How did you know? I asked, very surprised. Women always know, she replied. But don't you think that things are nicer as they are? We were friends. We come so happily and so easily together. But I want more than that, ladies. I want to hold you in my arms. I want hug, ladies. Why can't you love me? Because I love another man, she replied. Gladys saw the surprise on my face. Oh, I never meet him. She loved him and explained. He's just an idea in my head. Tell me about him, I said. Well, he possibly has your face, but... But what? I asked. Tell me, Gladys. Just tell me what you want. I can change. He is a harder man than you. He is a man who does brave things and has strange adventures. He is a man who can look a death in the face and is not afraid. But we can all have adventures, I said. And what are these great adventures? I never found one. They all around us, but it's only the great men who see them. And I know that if I am married, I want to marry a famous man. And why not? I said. Suddenly, I jumped to my feet. Yes, I will do something right in the world. I will, and I will have done it. Ladies, put some hair on my mouth. Don't say another word. You already have an hour late for the office. One day, when you have won your place in the world, we will talk about it again. That was how it all began. As I waited for my boss in the dark, raining on the street, something was born inside me. I was 23 and an important young reporter on the Daily Gazette newspaper. But I feel inside me hot fire of the first love. Tonight I was sure I would find some time that would change my life. I would find a great game to do, a great adventure somewhere out in the world, and I will win my Gladys love. So, that cold November evening, I arrived at the office of the Gazette with my head full of this idea. Mr. McCartan, the news editor, was at his desk. I always liked Mr. McCartan, and I hoped that he liked me. I heard that you are doing very well, Mr. Malone, he said, in his keen Scottish voice. You have written some very good pieces for us. Thank you, I answered. Now, how can I help you? Sir, I have something to ask you. Do you think that you could possibly send me somewhere with a lot of adventure and dangers? I will try to write something good for the Gazette. I really will. Were you thinking of anywhere special? Not really, but somewhere very difficult. I want something really hard. How dare me, Mr. Malone? That's very brave of you, replied McCarthy. Do you really want to lose your life so young? Mr. Malone, the days of the young reporters going on their adventures are past. I am afraid. This day, editors only give jobs like the famous reporter, he said. But Then a sudden smile came in his face. Wait a minute! I have an idea. Why don't you go and see the Professor Challenger? Professor Challenger? The famous zoologist? Was my surprised reply. Didn't he break the arm of that reporter from the Times? Yes, but I am hoping that you will have better luck. And you say that you wanted dangerous, didn't you? Here are some notes for you to begin with. He gave me a paper and read it quietly. But sir, I said to Mr. McCown, putting her paper in my pocket, I don't understand. Why do I need to tell this man? What he done? Mr. McCown around her face looking for his newspaper. He spent a year alone in a place somewhere in South America. No one knows where it was. He came back to London last year, and he said one or two things about his travel. But then people started asking questions, and he stopped talking so freely. Either something wonderful happened there, or the man's a liar. Most people think he's a liar, so now he hits anybody who asks him questions, and he throws reporters downstairs. That is your man, Mr. Malone. Go and see what you think of him. And that was the end of the conversation. I went out, and for a long time I looked into the brown, cloudy waters of the River Thames, looking for ideas. Then, suddenly I knew what to do. I went at once to see Per Henry, a science, on an old friend of mine. Challenger? Said Henry. He was the man who came back from South America with that impossible history? He said that he discovered some strange animals there. There were even some photographs. Nobody believes that they are real. There Henry showed me some Australian books, and I opened the large one. After a long time, I found a few words which I could nearly understand. I wrote them on the paper and began my letter. Dear Professor Challenger, I am a young zoologist who has always been greatly interested in your works. You are a liar, laughed Henry. I went on writing asking if the great Professor Will Kinner agreed to see me on Wednesday to talk about some own ideas in his book. He is a dangerous man, said Henry, reading my letter, but luckily for you. I don't think that he will answer this. My friend was wrong. At 11 o'clock the Wednesday morning, I was knocking on the front door of Challenger Fine House, with a letter from the professor in my hand. Chapter number 2. Is just the biggest thing in the world? When I stood face to face with the professor at his hand in the non-park, I could not believe what I said. He had the most enormous bird head that I have ever seen. A very big body and gray hair hands. His face was an angry color, and his gray beard was blueback. He sat and looked at me with exorbitant grace. Well, he said at last. I tried to do like a science, but the professor didn't believe me for a minute. You're the leader reporter! Did you really think that you could be as clever as the great G.A. Challenger? Challenger jumped to his feet, and I was afraid to see that. He was only a short man. Then he attacked me. His gray body was on top of me, and then I was on top of him. I amazed what folly of his bear. Our bodies went flying out to the room, and we suddenly found ourselves in the street. I pulled him as he stood beside us, with a little book in his hand. What is all this, then? He asked, looking at the professor. You were in trouble for the same thing last month, weren't you? He opened his book and started to write notes. No, please don't, I said. This time I began it. I am afraid he didn't mean to hurt me. The policeman stopped writing. A tall crowd of people in the street tore away. The professor looked at me with a small smile in his deep gray eyes. Come in! I have not finished with you yet. A little afraid, I followed him into the house. We went back into his room, where he showed me a comfortable chair. Now, listen carefully, he began. I usually have no time for people from the newspaper, but you were to that policeman showing me that you are, perhaps, a little better than the rest of them. That is why I brought you back. Now, you know that I made a journey to South America 2 years ago. Very few people have visited the small rivers which run in the great Amazon River. One night, I was in the village deep in the forest. The Indians there took me to see a very ill white man in one of their homes. When I arrived, he was already dead. Beside him like a bag. When I opened it, I said the name Maple White and others in America. I also found something else. It was the book of his regrets. Look at it closely. He stopped, took on a dirty, drawing book from his desk and gave it to me. There were drawings of Indians and pictures of a white man, with the words Jimmy Colbert on the boat below it. The other drawings were animals and birds. I see nothing innocent here, I said, and I turned the page. The next drawing interested me more. I showed some very high, direct cliff. They lay across the page like a great red wall, with green trees and along the top. One great, the rocks and along next to the cliff. Now, look at the next page, said the professor smiling. I turned the page, and nearly screaming. I was looking at a wild, a strange animal. It had a small head, short legs, and an enormous blue-gray body, perhaps 9 meters long. Now, look at this, he said, and he showed me a bone. It was 50 centimeters long, with some drying skin and one. I found it in the American's back. The same bones in a man's bone like this, he went on, and he showed me a bone about 1 centimeter long. So, you can see it came from a very large animal? And the skin of the head, said you? The bone is not very old. Well, what do you think? What is it? I am afraid that I have no idea, I replied. Then I will tell you, man. This bone belongs to a dinosaur. The drawing is of a dinosaur too. Science said that they are all day millions of years ago, but I can tell you that some dinosaurs are still alive today. So, what do you say now? I am deeply interested, I said. Next, the professor showed me a large, very dark photo. I looked at it closely. I could see an enormous wall of bricks. Beside them, the soup of dal, single rows with a great tree on top. I think it's the same place as the drawing, I said. It is. I found it from the Maple White camp there now. Now, look at the tree. Can you see something there? A large bear, I said. No, a bear. Would you like to see a pieces of this wing? The professor opened a box and took out a long bone with some grain seamed on it. Then, he opened a book on his desk and showed me a picture of a stray flying animals. This is a fish of a pterodactyl, he said, and that is a drawing of the bones in a pterodactyl's wing. I looked at the book on the bone, and I was sure it was all true. Professor, this is just the biggest thing in the world. You're a great scientist who has found all his work. The professor sat back in his chair with a great warm smile in his face. And did you see any more living beings? I asked. No, I heard many strange sounds from the top of the cliff, but I couldn't find a way to clean up there. But how did the animals get there? They have been there for a long time, replied the challenger. The rest of the world shined on the dinosaur days, but life on this cliff has started the same for millions of years. Professor, this is wonderful news. You must tell to the world about it, I said. I have tried, but nobody believed me. Stupid people, replied the professor. But tonight I will try again. At 8:30 tonight, there is a meeting on the Zoology Institute. They have asked me to tell the speaker, Mr. Warren, at the end of the meeting. While I am doing that, I will send Warren to interesting things, and perhaps people want to learn more. If I tell my story quietly and carefully, perhaps they'll listen to me. Will you come? I would like to have somebody in the room who is in my side. Even somebody who knows a little how to do you. With a large, kind smile, he gave me a ticket for his deck. You will not put a word of this into this paper. Do you understand? Now, goodbye. You have already done too much of an important time today. I will see you at 8:30. Chapter number 3. Anything is possible there. Anything. My dear friend, I don't believe a word of what the man says, said Sir Henry, when we are having dinner together tonight. But what about the drawing of the dinosaur? I asked. Charlie drew it himself, answered Henry. And the bones? He took them from his dinner plate, was Henry's reply. I began to worry perhaps that Henry was right. Maybe Charlie was just a good liar. Will you come to the meeting? I asked. There are many people in London who like Challenger, you know. What if they had trouble? Henry thought for a while, but at last he agreed to come. The great room of the Zoology Institute was already full when we arrived. There were old men and young men, professors with white beards and noisy learning students. One by one, the science doctor sat at the long table at the front of the room, and the students called sometimes to each of them. Their loudest shout out were for Challenger. When everyone was quiet, the speaker began his talk. Mr. Guadrone spoke of the beginnings of life on Earth. He talked of the great dinosaur and said, "Luckily, these terrible animals were all dead a long time before the men arrived in the world." Question! Roared a voice from the table. Mr. Baron watched a while when he said the same words again, more slowly and loudly. Question! Roared the voice once more. The speaker looked around and saw Challenger. He was sitting back, with his eyes closed and a large smile on his face. I see, said Mr. Malone. It is my friend Professor Challenger. The student howled louder and the speaker went on. But every time that Mr. Warren was spoke about dinosaurs, the professor roared, Question! And the crowd louder more and more loudly. Mr. Warren became uncomfortable and angry, and he said suddenly then stopped up. I would like to thank the speaker for his interesting little talk. Mr. Warren believes that the dinosaurs all died millions of years ago. This is because he was never seen once. But I know that these animals are still with us today. How do I know? I know because I was visited their sacred place. I know because I have seen them. There was more shouting and learning from the crowd. And a voice called, Liar! How say that? Roared Challenger, his eyes on fire. It is the same for all grand discoveries. We try to tell people about wonderful things, and they believe nothing. Stupid people! The crowd went wild. They jumped to their feet and shouted. But the professor held out his two great hands. and the room slowly began to get quiet. Everybody was listening. I have discovered the lost word. Will any of you go to find out if my word is true or not? Professor Sumlin stood from the crowd. He was a tall, thin, gray, and smiling man. You say that you have seen dinosaurs? But you don't tell us where these animals are, or how we can find them, he said on his cool, dry voice. I will tell you, if you are agree to come to South America with me, to see the dinosaurs for yourself. Will you do that? Yes, I will, Ken Sullivan replied. The crowd cheered. Very well, but it will be a difficult and dangerous journey, so we need a younger man with us. How will go with us? How will go with us? Asked Challenger, looking into the crowd. There are important times in every man's life which change. That's men who work forever. Suddenly I understood. This was late mean. A second later, I was on my feet, with Tar Henry pulling on my coat. Sit down, Malone! Don't be so stupid! He was saying to me. At the same time, a few seats in the front of me, a tall thin man with a dark red hair was also standing up. I will go, I said. Name, shouted the crowd. My name is Malone. I am a reporter from the Daily Gazette. And I am Lord John Rouser, said the tall man with the red hair. I have already been out the Amazon. I know it well. So, this was Lord John Robson, the famous traveler and experiment, I thought. Very well. But this man will travel with the Professor Summerlee and myself, said Challenger. Then the doors opened and the noise crowd pushed out into the street, taking me with them. I found myself alone on the silver lights, thinking about Gladys and the adventures that were awaited for me. Suddenly, a hand touched my arm. I turned and saw the smiling face of the Lord John. Mr. Malone, will you come ever to me in my place? I would like to talk to you. I followed Lord John to his flat. On the walls, there were many themes for his parenting days, and animal hits and skins from his many travels. We sat down, and Lord John opened a bottle of good wine. He was tall and very strong, with a thin face and a skin that was red from years outside in the sun and the wind. His eyes were a strong light blue color, like the clear water of a mountain lake. We need to get ready, he said. Now, you will need a gun. He opened a tall cupboard made of dark wood, took out a beautiful brown and silver rifle from it and gave it to me. On my last trip to South America, I helped some Indian self in Peru, he said. I fought against the slave drivers that with this gun. Do you see this cut on it? Every time I killed a slave race, I made a cut with a knife. This big book here is Pedro Lopez, the worst of them. I shot him on Putumayo River 3 years ago. Then, Lord John asked, what do you know about Challenger? I told him about my morning with the professor. I believe that every word of his history is true, said Lord John. I know South America very well. It is the biggest, wildest, and most beautiful place in the world. Anything is possible there. Anything. And if there is something new out there, perhaps will be the man who discovered it. Why not? A week later, I said goodbye to Gray. A week later, I said goodbye to Gray Rennie Hingwood. and got on a ship that was sailing across the great Atlantic Ocean. Who knows what we feel on the other side? Chapter number 4. Outdoor into a secret world. After a comfortable crossing, we arrived in Brazil, and took a private boat to the town of Manaus. From here we began our journey deep into the Amazon forest. Lord John and myself and the two professors who argued about everything like two children. We also had with us 5 Indians, and 5 strong servants and called Sambu. Also in our group were Gomez and Manuel, 2 men from Peru who knew about the Amazon, and who were happy to help us with our travels. We sailed out the Amazon in 2 small boats. We made sure that the professors were in different boats, and at first the journey went well. For 2 days we saw no another living thing. Then on the third day we heard a strange, deep sound around us. Our Indians stopped sounding very afraid. "What is it?" I asked. "Indians run, sir," said Gomez. "The Amazon Indians are watching us." All that day the drums followed us. That night, when we made for our camp, we made ourselves ready for a possible attack. But no attack came. And the next day, we sailed on. The drums became quieter and quieter, and then we heard on to no more. Later morning, Challenger suddenly shouted, "Oh, there is it!" And he pointed to a stream. The tree is beside the river. I used that tree to find my way one last time. All of my front hair, the dark green plants of the first floor will stop on one side for a river, and for a short while we will see light. Green river plants. That is the door into a secret world. Challenger was right. We found the place. Pushed through the river's plants and sailed into a tunnel of sun, green sunlight. The tunnel missed out top, making a green roof with about us. Gold sunlight fills long through the trees, breathing strong, beautiful colors and to quiet water below. We sailed along a river that was the size of glass and bright as diamonds. Animal life was around us too. Bird grass and blue flies flew over our heads, and small animals watched us, unafraid from between the trees. The clear water was alive with fish, large and small, and so every color, but we didn't see or hear a single man. After 3 days, we had our baths and continued on foot. Challenger and Somley were still arguing about everything when we discovered that the professor both had the same enemy, a zoologist called Dr. Lingertort. We found that when we dropped the name of this man into the conversation, our fitting professor's son became friend again. Our new road took us up the green tunnel and up a hillside, where the forest container. When we found a group of 4 large some on the ground. It was Challenger camper from his last journey. We went up, and the ground became more rocky. After 9 days, we came out of the streets, pushed through a forest of bamboo, and came into open, hilly ground. We climbed the fair hill, and Challenger suddenly stopped and pointed to the right. About a mile wide, we saw something very large and gray. He opened a part of the greens and flew slowly into some trees. "Look, Samuel!" shouted Challenger. "A pterodactyl!" "A pterodactyl," said Samuel, with a thin, cool smile on his face. It was a big bird. It was a big bird. Challenger's red face went purple, but he said nothing. We went home with Harvard Johnny after a short while. I held Lord John quiet and my voice in my ear. I saw the well, he said. I have no idea what it was, but I have seen many bears in my life, and I am sure that wasn't a bear. Later that day, we climbed a second hill under us. We saw our journey hands. In front of us up a great wall of high, rock cliff, the cliff of Maple Way Strawing. That night, we made our camp immediately under the cliff. Close to us stood the high, pinnacles of rock, with its one great tree at the top. Both the cliff and the pinnacle were about 200 meters high. It was a wild and lonely place, and we could clearly never get out to the place from there. So when Mary came, we decided to walk along to both the cliffs, looking for a way up. The ground was rocky, and our journey was slow and difficult, but then we found some things which brought us hope. It was an old ham with some empty bottles, with tins, and an unloaded American newspaper. Look here, said Lord John, pointing out the tree beside the camp. Somebody's drowned, and why they run on this? Well then, we must follow it, said Challenger. We followed the road, which is took us something terrible. Just below the cliff, there was a high of bamboo. Many of these were somewhat alive, with some suddenly. I saw something well, inside the bamboo. I looked closely, and saw the dry bones of the man first. A few raised clothes on a special wash, and a silver pen lay beside the bones. On the wash was the name of a newer shop, and on the silver pen were the letters JC. An American called James Colbert traveled with Maple White, said Challenger. Look how the letter on the pen. These are Colbert's words. There is no question about it. And I think I can tell you how he made his deed, said Lord John. He fell from the cliffs, or someone dared him. I felt sure that Lord John was right. We all looked up at the cliff. Ideas came into our heads about his strange place and these terrible dangers. For 3 long days, we walked slowly around the bottom of the cliff, but we found no break in the great wall of rock. Then, on the 4th day, we saw something which gave up new hopes. It was another round. We left the Indians to make our camp. We did the rest of our it was John Quayens who saw it. A dark circle on the face of the rock. It was the mouth of the cave. We climbed out to the cave, and there we found a tree road. Gomez and Manuel decided how the mouth of the cave. We made our way into the black hole. So, this was how Maple White got down into play too. We followed the dark tunnel for about 50 meters, climbing all the time, but then we met a wall of broken rocks. The road had fallen, called Lord John. We go no further, and happily we turned around and made our way back to our camp, leaving Gomez and Manuel up in the bottom of the cave. We arrived at our camp, sad and tired. Then, suddenly an enormous rock fell from about, nearly killed us all. We saw it fly past us. Sir, he came from up there, called Gomez, pointing to the cliff top. We looked up, but saw nothing. But one thing was sure, someone or certain out there was trying to kill us. Chapter number 5. I have the answer. This was a wild, friendly place and full of danger, but when we looked up at the beautiful green plateau, we all wanted to discover its secrets and mysteries. Now that I was ready to go back to London Jet. Then, one night, something wonderful happened. something that changed everything for us. We were sitting around for our campfire and our dinner. A large chicken was cooking on the fire. Suddenly, out of a dark sky, something flew down at us. We looked up and saw two enormous wings of green skin along in it, a horrible red edge, and, to my great surprise, a hundred small, sharp teeth. A second later, it was flying back into the night, with our dinner in its teeth. For a long time, nobody could say a word. Our family spoke in quiet, shaking voice. Professor Challenger, I really am deeply sorry. Then the two scientists shook hands for the first time. The night the paradox of the storehouse near was truly a great night. The lost food didn't matter at all. But we still called my company to play you. After 6 days, working around the cliff, we arrived back at our central place, the Rocky Pinnacle. When I lay down to sleep that night, I could see Challenger sitting unhappily on a rock. His great head was in his hands, and he was thinking audibly. But the next morning, Challenger was bright and smiling, and walking up down proudly. I have the answer, he said, holding his head high and pointing up the pinnacle of rock. We could see the climbing and the pinnacle was not possible. But what then? Let us get to the first, the professor went on in a low, important voice. There, Challenger! We showed you his plan? Challenger was a fine mountaineer, and with the help of a strong 50-meter rope, he climbed the pinnacle easily. After about 1 hour, the four of us were on the top, together with Gomez and Manuel. From that high place, I could see everything. The rocky open ground below the cliff, the yellow wall of bamboo, then a dark green forest which went open for 2,000 miles. It was beautiful to see. I felt Challenger having hand on my arm. This way, my young friend, he said. Never look back. My eyes turned to the plateau. Its edge was every 12 meters away from where I stood. So near, yet still so far. I looked down and saw our servants on the ground, far below us out. The professor Summerlee was looking carefully on the pinnacles one great tree. This is interesting, he said. It's just like an English tree. It is, replied Challenger. It is a friend for home in strange country. And believe me, that tree will be our friends. That's it, shouted Lord Jones. A bridge! Yes, oh my god, sir, it's a bridge, said Challenger. It really was a very clever idea. It was my job, as the youngest and strongest man, to cut the 23 tree. Challenger gave me the ounce and told me where the match is carefully cut. After nearly an hour of work with the axe, the great tree fell. One end of it lay at our feet, and the other lay on the plateau. Without word, we shook hands with Challenger. Challenger himself crossed to breathe first, Summerlee followed him. I went next, and then Lord John. So at last, the four of us were standing in the last ward of Maple White. We walked a short way into the trees. Then, suddenly, we heard a low crash. We all turned and rode back to the edge of the plateau. The bridge was no longer there. I looked down, and far below I could see our tree lying on the ground, broken into pieces. Then, we looked across at the pinnacle. There we saw Gomez. His face was keen and strained, and his black hair burned like fires. Lord John Roxon! He shouted. Here I am! Lord Johnson called back. Yes, and there you will stay, screamed Gomez with a loud, horrible laugh. We nearly killed We nearly killed the with that's the sound of the cave. But this is a bird. It is slower and more terrible. The hot sound with your bones, and nobody will find them. When you are written on tree, Tina Pedro Lopez. She saw him 3 years ago on the Putanamo River. I am his brother, remember him. Then he and Manuel climbed down to the pinnacle and climbed off and left us. Lord John sat down on the ground with a face like rain stone. It's my fault. You are in this trouble because I killed Gomez's brother. I've been so stupid. Why didn't I think? We looked at the painting and saw that someone was climbing up as fast as he could. What shall I do now, sir? She called to us when we had stopped. The innocent live, but I won't go, sir. I will stay with you. We told Samuel to throw one of the ropes to us. Then he tied about to the other end of the rope, and we pulled it across. We did this many times, and when evening came, we had food, waters, gun, and everything for a clean camp. That night, I wrote a long letter to Maconder. The Indians were going home to Manaus the next day, and I could take it with them. Was it perfect my last letter then? There was no way to get down from the plane. It was impossible. So I saw and wrote in the bright, cold moonlight of this strange world, and I felt that there was no hope for us. Really no hope. What shall we call this place? Asked Lord John after breakfast. It can only have one name. The name of the man who discovered it. This is Maple Whiteland, said Challenger. We all agreed. We made our camps as fast as possible, building a wall of sharp plains around it. Then we began our fish journey to the mountain line. The place was full of unusual things. Our scientists discovered many interesting plants and flowers. Late that first morning, we found some great footprints in the air and followed them silently. Then, between the trees, we saw a truly wonderful sight. A family of 5 enormous great green dinosaurs. They were nearly 7 meters long. We watched them from behind the trees. We lay slowly our great mountain plains. After a long time, they moved slowly in the forest. The professor looked joyful. What were they? Asked Lord John. Iguanodons, answered soundly. Millions of years ago, England was full of iguanodons. Then they died, but they're in this place. They're all still alive. As after about 5 kilometers, we came to a large group of rocks. We heard some strange sounds, and quiet and carefully, we looked over the rocks. The place was full of pterodactyls. There were thousands of the things sitting around a little lake of sun and water. The smell was terrible. Then they saw us, one after the other. They sailed up into the sky and floundered around us in the red shrine. Suddenly, they attacked. A great wind knocked Challenger to the ground, and I felt sharp teeth on my neck. Another of the monsters flew at suddenly, giving him a great blow that could across his face. Lord John pointed his rifle at the sky, shot until the pterodactyl fell to the ground. The others flew higher into the sky. Now, shouted Lord John, run for our life! We escaped back to our camp, thinking that the day's adventures were at the end. But a surprise met us. Our teams were lying underwater the ground. One piece of me was open. Our cameras were broken. Our boards of food lying places everywhere, bullets everywhere. But there wasn't a single footprint going from the camp. Perhaps somewhere on something used a large tree in our camp that crossed over our hive and campfires. At once, I felt deep in danger around us. Who says we're watching over the trees? What danger is we're hidden in the silent forest? That night, I went to bed with my head full of this idea. While I was lying there, Lord John asked me a strange question. I say, Malone, remember, remember the place where the dove flying were? Well, do you remember there near the water? Yes, I do, I said. I was very soft and blue. That's right, soft bluer, he said, and walked away. The next day, we decided that we needed a map of Maplewood Land this time. This time, I was the one who had the clever idea. There was an enormous tree beside our camp. Perhaps I could clean up it and see more of the plateau. My friends helped me to get up into the street once. I was high on the great stream when suddenly I saw something. A face was looking into my face. It was long and thin, with strange glassy gray hands and great sharp teeth. It was the face on a Haberman. For a second, I saw a red-headed blue Jim through the trees, and then it disappeared. For a minute, I couldn't move, but then I finished my clip, and so I could see all the plateau, forests, red rocks in the center, a beautiful lake. On the other side of the lake were some tall cliffs, with dark holes inside of them. Perhaps they were caves. In the south evening of the lake, I drew a map for everything. Then I made my way back down the tree and told the others about my meeting with the Haman. Later we put the names in the map. What shall we call this lake? Asked Challenger. You saw the first. Your friend. You saw Mo give the name. Make Malone, if you like. Well, I say, blushing, I would like to call the lake Gladys. That night, the moon was bright, and I couldn't sleep. I got up and quietly left the camps. I will never forget that there. Lonely walked through the silent forest. After some hours, I still worried between the trees. Lake Gladys, my Lake Gladys, lying in front of me, silver and beautiful in the bright moonlight. On the other side of the lake, I could see the tall cliff again, with their round their house. But now, there was something inside the caves. Something bright red and burning fires. So there were men living on the plateau. I could even see the campfires darken for a second or two when people were walking in front of them. I lay for a long time watching in those red fires. Animals came to drink, and strange and beautiful animals. Then came a great dinosaur with a small head, short legs, and a horrible blue-gray body, and big sharp blade along his back. Where have I seen those monsters before? I thought. Then I remember it was the dinosaur from Applewhite struggling. At 2:30, I began my journey back through the forest. When I was about halfway back to the camp, I heard a long wall behind me. I walked faster, and the sound became louder and closer. Something was following me. My ears grew cold, and I turned around, and suddenly I saw it, an enormous dinosaur. An enormous dinosaur standing more than 12 meters tall. It gave a low roar, and I saw these enormous sharp teeth, and the red blood and round its horrible mouth. This was a meat dinosaur, one of the most terrible monsters that was ever lived. I turned around, but the monster with less courage nearer and nearer to me, and its roar became louder and louder. I ran around, faster than I never run in my life. I felt it was failing, falling downtown. Very close to me. There was a sudden crash. She was falling downtown into some tiny under. When I opened my eyes again, I was quiet. Above me, I could see brick stairs. In a circle of black skies, I was in a big hall. In the center of the whole soul is a sharp knife and red with blood. It was a trap made by the people to the play. A heavy animal that fell into it could never climb up again. But for a minute it was no difficult. Before long I was at the top, looking out on the listener. The dinosaur was far away by now. The sky was already beginning to wait, and I felt the cold wind harmony on my face. I went on home, but another surprise was waiting for me there. The can was unpied, our teams lay broken on the ground, and there was blood on the grass. I ran out wildly, calling my friends names, but no answer came. All that day I waited for them. I could see our bus servant assembled, sitting by his camper far below. At the bottom of the cliff. But out here on the plateau I was alone. I fell asleep thinking about my three brave friends. I have never felt so afraid, so lonely. Chapter number 7. We both moved somewhat quickly. The next morning, I felt somebody touch my hand, and my hand went to my gun. Then I opened my house and saw Lord John on my knees on my side. His clothes were red and dirty. His face was scratched and bloody, and his eyes were wild. "Quick!" John ran. He shouted. "Get the rifle! Get some food! Now, run!" A minute later, Lord John and I were running through the forest with a rifle under each arm and our hand full of food. At last he pulled me to the ground. "There," he said. "I think that we're safe here." "What's happening?" I asked. "Where are the professor?" "They may got us. It was early in the morning. They jumped out to the street onto us. They look like animals, but they talk in strange language and fight with sing and sound. There was a big ass man, but a stranger." While Lord John was telling me this, he was looking quickly from left to right half the time, with his arm ready in his hands. "They took out the stairs down, throwing us along like animals," he said. "When we got there, they asked what's up and get out as a prisoner." "What about you?" I told him about adventures in the night. "You said you said caves?" He went on. "Well, we have seen the Indians who live there. From what Challenger says, they clearly found they were from the forest, flowed to the plateau much later on the Vapid Man. They lie on the side of the plateau, and the Vapid Man lie on he said, and there is no body everywhere than them. Now, do you remember that forest of sharp bamboo stick? Well, it's just under Happen on this bridge jumping for the prisoners. One by one, the line of the enemy had to climb, while everyone watching. The man went toward the middle of the cave. It was horrible. Well, I was sure that we were the next, but they decided to kill us, together with the Indians until today. I escaped this morning by killing my ward in the stomach, and right back to the camp to the revolt. Just then we heard a strange noise for Ness. "Shh! Here they come!" Here they come. I looked toward the trees and saw the happy men. They walked the one behind the other, with short legs, wearing on boughs, and long arms without the ground. I took my gun. "No, not here," Sailor Jones. "We will have to look on open ground, where they can run and fast on us. Let's go and fade away." We had a breath and our handle, then began our slow and careful walk through the forest. After about an hour, Roger fell down behind some trees, pulling me down with him. "We are here! I hope that we are not late," we said, very quiet. I looked through the trees. I will never forget the scene with my hands, an open ground near the edge for the cliffs, with about 100 red herring pins. In front there a line prisoner, 5 Indians and 2 white men, Challenger and Samuel. Then the chief headed hounds to a large ape dog in the Indians, and he slid an arm and threw him over the edge of the cliff.